I'll just open it up for questions. Oh,
Yeah, Coach.
Over there first
Right.
there.
To your right, Coach.
right here.
I believe it's your 15th season being the primary play caller for an offense. I'm curious who you go to study or what you go to study to remain innovative as a play caller.
Oh, well, that's a good question. We've all got friends in this business that we talk to on a regular basis that are coaching, trying to stay fresh and new with how you do things. Football is football. We're really running very similar plays that we ran 27 years ago when I started coaching. It might be just out of different formations and different personnels and using different guys. Then I rely on coaches that have coached me that have had a lot of experience. Coach Rick and Coach Donnan. Coach Donnan, who I played for and then worked for, and then Coach Rick, who I worked for a long time. They got a lot of experience, so you lean on guys with experience. My own dad will be at practice today. He was a coach a long time. I ask his opinion about how things looked and what we're doing, but I tell the players all the time, you've never arrived, you're always learning, and that goes for us as coaches too. We're always trying to find new ways to do things, not necessarily new, but ways to do things better where we can be efficient on offense.
Like kind of following all those same lines, every coach as they go along, the business adapts, as they go along. Are you surprised at some of the ways you've adapted over time?
Me and Coach T-Rod were talking about it, earlier, back in the day, the game may have been a little bit simpler. It was a little more physical, but you've got to adapt. The game is played in space nowadays, but you still, I don't want to adapt so much that we don't lose our physicality as an offense and what this program's built on, what Coach Smart's building on is toughness and physical and offense. So, you want to be, innovative and play the game in space and try to be explosive. You've got to be explosive on offense nowadays, but at the same time, you don't want to lose your physicality as an offensive unit, and that's something we pride ourselves on, and it's a staple of what Coach Smart's been here since been here at the University of Georgia.
Mike, looking at Carson, what is the biggest difference you see in him right now compared to this time last year going through fall camp?
I see a guy that is trying to have a sense of urgency every day about everything he does and not taking anything for granted. He wrote a bunch of things on our board in our meeting room of what we need to do as a quarterback, and number one was be where your feet are. And you hear that a lot. But here's a guy that, had a good season, his first season, and there's a lot of noise outside, this building, about the future, but he can't control that. What he can control is, being where his feet are every day. And in the meeting that we're going to go to here in less than an hour, it's going to be an install, but it's not going to be a new install for him. It's going to be a lot of things that he's heard over the 4 to 5 years that he's been here, but he's going to be locked in, being where his feet are, paying attention. There might be one little nugget today that is a little bit different than last year, something that's going to help him be better at whatever play we're installing. So I think he's got a really, really good mindset of focusing every day, controlling what he can control, and getting better. Because last year's last year, tomorrow's tomorrow. The most important thing is today, and that's a hard thing to do. That's a hard thing to do for me, and I'm 50, but we've got a head coach that's going to stress that daily of the most important thing is our meeting here in a minute with the players, and then how we go out there and walk through, how we go out there and do stretch, how we do everything on a day-to-day basis, and he's doing a good job of that.
How you doing, Mike?
Thanks, yeah.
Can you tell us about the progress of your backup center? I think his name's Drew Bobo.
he's hell on wheels.
Is he? And kind of on the end of that. I mean, I understand maybe your starters had some issues here lately. Can you update us on that? But sincerely, coaching your son, that's I'm sure there's an interesting dynamic there.
Yeah, Jared has missed some things, but he's got to do as much as possible. It's always. That's a very important position, offensive line, in the offensive unit. They communicate, really to everybody what goes on up front. And Jared's still being able to do that a large majority of what we're doing. We're just being careful with Jared, but it also gives guys more opportunities to work at center and make those calls. We lost a 4-year starter in Sed Van Brandt that has made the calls 100 times and confident making those calls and communicating. So everything we do from walkthrough to practice is an opportunity for those centers that Jared's not getting work to make those calls and communicate with those other guys. And it's probably more important this year because we've got so many young linemen that might not be able to hear the call and know what they got. And a lot of times, that center's got to pass everything down the line and make the call front side and back side for those guys. And it's a little bit uncomfortable for guys like Drew, but the only way they're going to get comfortable is keep doing it and putting them under those pressure situations.
Hey, Mike.
Art.
Looks like you should have a really good offense if you base it on this college football playoff or college football video game. Is that a good indicator of what you guys going to do this year?
I don't know. The only video game I ever played was Tecmo Bowl and Super Tecmo Bowl, which is a lot better. A couple times I sat down with my son and Jake and Drew, and they were playing when we had some time off over the summer, and it's amazing, the plays, the concept of defense, and there's a lot of good things in there. My son's trying to battling for the quarterback job at Prince and sitting down and seeing what the defense does and making decisions, but. I'd go with Tecmo and Super Tecmo Bowl. I always played with the Oilers. Warren Moon was hell, and then Chris Dishman on defense. He could pick up off about anything on Tecmo Bowl.